What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. Good Monday afternoon. This is January 25th, 2021. This is a different echelon, and I'm here live. Darius Nolan. I am a different echelon at the Different Echelon podcast. Today is a great day, another great day. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope everybody was able to get things accomplished, to get things done that like they wanted to. We are like definitely in a new season now. Very happy that we have a new president. I kind of mentioned this on the last edition about the president, and we don't go into a lot of things political here, but I'm just very happy that we have something new going on in the White House. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are taking the reins from the previous delegation of President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. Wish them all the best in the future. But moving forward, we're here for a new day. Very happy about these things. But just to kind of get up to snuff in current events, last week, believe it, over the weekend, actually Friday and Saturday, or Thursday and Friday of last week, we lost two living legends. One being the great incomparable Larry King, who has been on TV for far longer than I've been here on Earth. He passed away, I believe, at the age of 86. He fought a long fight. He interviewed the top celebrities, just the critically acclaimed gentleman, and not many people have bad things to say about him. So we hope that he rests in peace. And also to Hammer and Hang Aaron, who was a tremendous a baseball player, just an overall role model, not just for African American people, African American boys, but also just people all around across the nation. He broke Babe Ruth's home run record. I believe it was 715 back in the mid 70s, mid to late 70s, again, before I was born. But I just remember his interviews. He was always so very eloquent. And his contemporaries, I listened to an interview this morning with Joe Torre, former Yankees manager, and one of his teammates in one of Hank Aaron's previous teams. And he said he just never let the racism and the letters and the hate mail and the people spitting on him and having negative things to say about him, he never let that affect his drive to pursue greatness. And a good friend of mine who I call a baseball aficionado let me know that he was a 25-time All-Star. And so his longevity speaks for itself. His persistency and his consistency speaks for itself as well. So once again, we pray for the families of Larry King and Hammer and Hang Aaron, and may their souls both rest in peace. That's been your update thus far, but we want to get to what's going on right now today. I'm favored with, I can't say enough about this young lady. She has been a constant in my life for the last, I would say, 30 years. She's just incomparable. She never rests. She's always doing something very, very fruitful. So we're going to bring in my sister. Um, this is Dr. Bridget Dewees. Hello, Bridget. Are you there?
I am there. I am here.
Okay, Bridget, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing, Darius?
I'm doing very, very well. So I was just bragging to some of the listeners and the viewers. And once again, guys, I would like to say that if you can't hear us or there's any type of issue, please leave me a comment. But moving forward, I was just telling everybody that you've been in my life for the last 30 years. So this has been a long time. You know, we don't even look 30 years old, right?
I'm trying not to, but I've been your big sister for 30 years, so you
Yeah,
know
that
that.
no, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. So just to give everyone a little history on us, we moved here from New York. My parents and I moved here from Brooklyn, New York, in the 90s, I guess it was, and we attended the same church. So
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, you had just gotten married to your incomparable husband, Jay or James Dewees, big
yeah,
brother of mine as well. And you just kind of took me under your wings. And you know, I just, you know, we talked right before we started this about, you know, not making it all sappy from the top, but
I
you
tell
used
you,
to
don't
take
get me
you,
crying.
yeah, yeah, right, right. But you know, you took me, y'all took me bowling, and you know, Jay being a great saxophonist and overall musician, just really steered me in the right direction in music. I came here, and you and my mom hit it off right away, and everything was just so great. So, we met in the house of the Lord. We met in church, and
Yes.
that's what it's all about. And helped me get into college. There's just a lot of different things. We can go down a list of things that you've helped me and been a part of my life in. But so Bridget, just kind of get everybody up to snuff as to who you are. We only have a few minutes, so we can't we can't get into all
No.
of it.
Oh, that was my
But
big question. How long is your podcast, Darius?
yeah, no, it's you got some time, so let everyone
No,
know who
no.
you are because we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Well, Darius, it's a pleasure, and just listening to you, I forgot how close we were, and some of the things we've been through and done
Right.
together with your family. You
Mm-hmm.
know, your mom showed up at my wedding after she had just met me and Jay when y'all moved down, and
Right.
ever since that time, she was like my big sister. So of
Mm-hmm.
course you were her baby, so
Right.
you became my little brother, and
Right.
but yeah, I'm just so glad that we remain friends and we're family. That's how I
Yeah,
see it.
family.
We're
Yeah, for
family.
sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bridget, everyone sees here Bridget Dewees, PhD, but you didn't start off like that. So if you
Oh
just
no.
kind of give us a little history on
Okay.
you. Yeah, let's take it from you got married and all of that good stuff.
Okay.
So
Well, yeah.
let's talk about what you got going.
Yeah, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and immediately out of high school,
Hmm.
I'm a first generation college kid. My
Okay.
dad just insisted that I go to college, and I wanted to go. So I went to University of South Carolina, did an undergrad in accounting, and then
Mm-hmm.
went straight into banking as a cost accountant. And then I tell you, Darius, it wasn't but 5 years before I realized that just was not me. I don't even know how I stuck with the major because
Wow.
I wasn't as extroverted as I am now as a personality, but I knew I was growing into it. But so I did that for a while, and then I met Jay and had to move to Charleston because he's from Somerville area, and that's how I ended up in higher ed. I wasn't like seeking higher ed. I was like, I need a job. I'm getting ready to get married, and
Right.
so long short, somebody did a favoring for me that my dad did for them, and I found a job and 30-year career in higher ed after that. And along the way, of course, if you're in higher ed, you keep thinking about your self growth and your education. So I earned an MBA and then in 2016 finished my PhD. So I've been a lifelong learner.
Right.
Along the way, held so many positions in higher ed as a faculty member, as an administrator, you name it, a mentor to young people.
Mhm.
I love the industry and love what I'm doing. So that's kind of how I landed there, with a lot of closed doors, a lot of open doors, and just keeping, finding out who you are along the way. I always tell young people, you're really not going to know who you are until you're about 40.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And you think you do. So I thought I did. At 20, you can't tell me anything. I'm getting out of college at 21. And then at 30, I'm like, okay, yeah, I know who I am. But it was something about when I hit 40, and then when you hit 50, you be like, okay, so I'm telling my age and I don't care. I love it.
No, that's okay.
But you get there and you go, wow. So now, Darius, my whole life is about impact. When
Hmm.
you realize at a certain age that you have more life ahead of you,
Hmm.
I mean, behind you, than you
Right.
have ahead of you,
Right.
you don't want to waste too much. And then coupled with, we'll get into some of the things that Jay and I have been through. So you wake
Right.
up and you go, every day's a gift. Every day's
Right.
not perfect.
Right.
Every day's not up, but it's always a gift.
Yeah, and I like what you said because back in 2019 or 2019 I turned 40, and I don't mind telling my age either because I do feel like it is a blessing.
Yeah.
And I have a good friend that always say to me, Darius, you know what? 30 is the new 20, 40 is the new 30, so on and so forth. And you're right about finding out who you are once you turn 40, because I just literally came into my own. I didn't realize, and I've always been a musician, just in church and stuff like that. But my musical career has actually taken off, and I didn't realize that I liked it as much as I do. I just kind of did it because it was fun, but
Right.
and I always wanted to affect people in a positive way. That's really why I'm doing this as well. I'm not doing it for anything else, but I can always say that you and Jay were always like a beacon of light for me because and this is no disrespect to anybody that may be listening from the church, but you were just different. You know what I'm saying? You guys were different than everybody else. Of course, Jay being musically inclined and you being his great support system and all of that. Even though you were not a singer, you sang in the choir and you helped out and
You
you
had to
you
call me
know
out like
yeah.
that, man.
No, I'm just no, I'm just saying like you would say it.
I am
you know,
not a singer.
yeah, but you did it. But seriously, I just really feel like it's very important to have a positive effect on people. And the one thing I can say about the two of you is that you always had a great presentation, and that's how I am. I was probably trying to present myself in a positive way. So of course, we can attribute that to your parents or whatever the case may be. But like when you get up in the morning and I have to look at your pearls. You are an AKA, am I right?
Correct.
Right. Yeah, that's
Correct.
that may have a lot to do with it as well. All the AKs that I know, they always, they're right there. They don't play around with it. But that being said, like, so what is your mindset when you go out and, even, you're working at Trident Tech for a while and everything like that. You always decided to shine. Is there something that you're very cognizant of, or you intelligently think, you intentionally think about, or is it just happen?
Yeah, I think a lot of it. I used to be in the background a lot, and one
Hmm.
of my pastors, Bishop Bonner,
Yeah.
he had a meeting with me. We were working on something, and I said to him, I was like, I don't really have a gift at the time. I felt like I was Jay's wife, which is
Right.
a good gift, but
Right.
I wasn't like out there.
Hmm.
He just looked at me and he points his long finger there and he
Right.
says,
His long finger. Yeah.
"Girl, your personality is your gift. You didn't know that?"
Hmm.
And I looked at him like, how can a personality be a gift?
Right.
And
Right.
that always stuck with me, Darius. That was like years and years and years ago. And I realized that God has blessed me with this personality that lifts.
Right.
And so I try to, it's very natural. I'm not
Hmm.
fake because
Right.
I just can't be. And I
Right.
think I don't even know how to answer that question because
Yeah.
that's a good question.
Oh,
I get up every day trying to be Bridget and trying to
right.
be more of what he's called me to be, trying to be
Yeah.
more of who I really think I am,
Right.
and helping all the people I can help. You know,
Right. Right.
and the more you give, the more you get back.
Right.
Not
Right.
even looking for it because
Right.
there's so many different rewards for just being that. So yeah, I get up every day. I'm very aware of my presentation because now
Right.
that comes from my mom.
Hmm. Right. Right.
You
No, no, I understand.
Yeah, that's probably like the worst I'm gonna look, if you see me.
Well, you look fine, sister. You look fine. Your mom will be very happy when she
Yeah,
sees you.
my mom probably watching. So
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, I
Hmm.
get that from her as a little girl. And then it's just some things just instilled in me, like you just look decent when you go somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, and I can kind of like chime in on the whole presentation thing. People kind of like tease me, but they also applaud me. I think, and I'm not arrogant. I love to. I think to represent my parents very well.
Me too.
My father's in heaven now, and I know he's looking down. He's happy. And is just because he was always that kind of person that
Yes,
always like prepared himself. You remember he prepared himself
you
every
can
day.
know it.
Nice going to church, and
Yeah.
my mom always liked to wear hats and stuff like that. But I do believe that presentation takes you a long way, because a lot of times, and I mean not a lot of all the time, when a person meets you face to face, what they see is what they think of you first before you get a
Mhm.
chance to open your mouth and you speak or
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. And I always try to put my best foot forward and that kind of stuff. And being 40 now, I'll see younger guys at the barbershop or wherever, and I'm like, hey man, pull your pants. I'll never forget the first time I told this dude to pull his pants up. I was like, oh my God, I'm officially an old man now, because I was at Target. I shouldn't have said that, but I was at a store, And I and I said, man, pull your pants up. And I was like, oh my God, I'm an old man. But it's because I really I felt for him in the sense that a lot of people will deny him opportunities just because he has pants on the ground or his pants are not where they should be. So you're right. You have to be yourself, and you have to because when you look yourself in the mirror, you have to be proud of what you are and who
Right.
you are and how you look, that kind of thing. But just moving forward, Bridget, always remember you like in a positive light, always looking good. Your husband, always sharp, always had a nice suit on. I mean, when I see him on Facebook or whatever, he's always looking very, very nice. But Jay is my brother. Jay, if you're listening, man, love you, man. But I remember, some years ago, Jay was very sick,
Yeah.
and that was a very tough time. I'm sure for yourself, definitely being his wife. And I got to shout out my brother Justin, your son.
Yeah.
It was a very touch and go situation, and feel free, like I said, to say as little as or as much as you like to
Oh,
say.
okay.
Yeah, but kind of give the story about that, and it's okay if you cry. I'll cry. I have my tissue already ready, so so we
Well,
can.
you were right there with us, so
Yeah, right,
you were
right,
in
right.
it. Yeah, Darius, that story shaped me spiritually.
Mm-hmm,
Like we say, we met in church. I grew up in church. That's
mm-hmm.
gonna always be who I am. But
Right.
sometimes you're living off mom and daddy. You're
Yeah.
living off the preacher.
Mm-hmm.
You're hanging in there, and then God says, "Okay, it's time for you to come out and know who I am." And sometimes we don't want to go through what we have to go through to
Right.
know who He is.
Right.
But after all we've been through, you can't make me doubt Him now. So I know
Right.
you think that kind of show where I just go off preaching,
Yeah.
but
No, it's okay. No, you have to be yourself. We're just talking
I have to
about.
be myself.
Yeah.
So with Jay, in 2011, we had two episodes with Jay. 2011, he had a near death experience where he was singing at a wedding and just collapsed. His
Mm-hmm.
heart went into arrhythmia, and he went into what they call sudden cardiac death. No heartbeat, no pulse. That went on the whole episode for about 40 minutes. By the time they got in the EMS, the doctor was prepared to come out and tell me he was dead. But they got the call. We're bringing this man in. We're pumping him. God just happened to have, nurses at the wedding party. It was horrific. And long short, he woke up 48 hours later and set up like, why am I here? When they took all the meds off out of the
Mm-hmm.
ICU. And Jay just went right back to work in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he had to get a little defibrillator, so if it happens again, it will shock him.
Right.
And we just kept living. But we call that our Lazarus experience. And I published my first book, inspirational book, called 21st Century Lazarus. And then he did really well. But in the back of our minds, we're not listening or taking in what the doctors kind of warned us. Because they said, in 5 years, things, because they know the history of heart failure.
Mm-hmm.
5 years, you might have to deal with such and such. And we're like, nah. I mean, Jay singing, playing, just
Yeah.
looking like Mr.
Normal. His
J.
normal self. Yeah.
So about 2017, the heart starts to really decline.
Mm-hmm.
And we go through a couple of years and in and out of the hospital. And then 2018, we have another journey, 65 days in ICU waiting on a heart
Oh.
transplant. So during those 65 days, Jay began to write. And he
Mm-hmm.
would write journals, and God would give him things to say to people. And, we have 2 books that take us. This is
Yeah.
the first one, and then this one is our last one that we wrote together that
Right.
takes us through the 65 days in ICU and
Mm-hmm.
what God wanted us to learn.
Right. Right.
Because when you are a believer, everything happens for your good, even when it doesn't feel good. It's for your good.
Yeah, and I want to go back to those books real quick. I want to delve into what those books are about. You kind of flashed it real quick like that. So, but I lost my father in
Yeah.
2015, and I actually did not. I could not appreciate, you know, as much as I love my father, I could not appreciate the lessons until he's no longer here to teach me more.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother Eric and I talk all the time about, we wish Daddy was here, I'm telling you, there's not a day I go that goes by I don't think of him. But it does when things happen to you, when events happen, and at the time when Jay was was in with his situation. I was working at a local hospital here and everything like that. And I've seen death before. I had a patient that we were doing like a routine procedure, and he didn't make it, and I could not believe it as my first. But I think what ends up happening is that when you do a job, and I want people to understand what I'm saying. Healthcare workers, they take their jobs very seriously, but as a human, sometimes you get into a routine. So what happens is you get into a routine, and I don't want to say you become numb, but it's almost like you kind of expect it, you kind of used to it. But when it happens to you, it's different. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So
Right.
we've all had a friend or a neighbor that may have passed away or they experienced this death situation. But when it happens to you, it's most certainly very, very, very different. So
Absolutely.
so I know that with that, I remember coming to the hospital and seeing you, and you were very emotional. And I was almost like, I can't believe it. And I just refused to accept it. And I'm happy because I think those prayers helped Jay get through this whole situation. Of course, all things are ordained by God. But that being said, the first book you wrote, which one was that? The Lazarus book?
Yeah, this one. And
Okay.
this is from my perspective. And I started writing this, Darius, because Jay couldn't remember a thing. His
Right.
memory is totally white.
Was white,
And
right.
I even had to show him the music he was singing at a wedding. He couldn't
Mm,
remember the song. And the wedding was a dear, dear friend of ours. So I wrote this book, and I was going to give it to him as a Christmas gift for his ministry. I'm like, because I recounted, just started writing. I
mm.
found it to be therapeutic. Now, I never thought myself a writer.
Right,
And
right, right.
I was like, wow. So it's my lessons learned from my perspective, and just how being surrounded by my village made a difference. And
Hmm.
I gave it, and then a girlfriend of mine's like, who published books, she's like, Bridget, that's a book. Send that to me. And next thing I know, by March, this happened 2011, December, March 2012, we had this book coming out. And this book has been my marker,
Mm,
right? It was my first marker for our whole journey.
hmm.
They had a couple of hiccups along the way, and anytime I would just pull this out and say, okay, you did it
Right.
before, God, you could do it again. When we were in ICU, fast forward to 2018, from 2011, I ordered like 100 copies of this book, and I
Mm.
just gave them out in the waiting room.
Oh, wow.
So here, Jay is in ICU, and my ministry became a ministry of helps, a ministry of lifts. And so
Hmm.
I'm putting this book out saying, hey, y'all can read this story. Whatever you're going through is going to encourage you. And people, it's such a short read. They would
Right,
come back in a day or two and say, I read your book and I'm in tears, and you strengthened my faith and all this thing. Now I realized I was strengthening my own faith, because
right,
a
right,
heart transplant was the end.
right, right,
Like,
right, right,
you either get a heart, we could give you a bridge to a heart,
right,
which they call an
right,
LVAD,
right.
but you at the end. The
Yeah,
medicine wasn't working anymore.
right.
And so we get to the next phase, and it's I see you, God. And the
Hmm.
reason we named it I see you, God is because a young lady in the waiting room read this.
Hmm.
And she came back. She became one of my good friends. We bonded. It was a group of us, all with loved ones that were very sick in ICU.
Right.
And she said, God gave me the name of your next book. I was like, what next book? Girl, I ain't writing no book. And she said,
Right.
yeah, I see you, God.
Hmm.
And I went and ran it. I told Jay. By then, Jay had the surgery, and he was in under like 4 or 5 days recovery when she came to me to tell me that. And I said, I see you, God. And Jay said, that's it.
Right.
So all those journals he been writing, and then all of his lessons, like shift your atmosphere, how to get through a hard thing.
Mm.
There's so many lessons in both of them. And it just became our platform, and it strengthened my platform. I don't do anything now, Darius, that doesn't fit into what God's called me to do.
Right.
I don't care if it's for money. I don't
Hmm.
care if it's for church. I don't care what it's for. If it's
Hmm.
not what God has called me to be, I'm at the place now where I already know who I am. I know where I can give the most impact, and that's
Right.
what I'm going to do.
Well, listen, I'm with you 100%. I do believe that, as believers, that we're here to make an impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
And I always pray, even before I get out of the car, when I do go to my medical job, I always say, Lord, let me have an impact, a positive impact on somebody's life. Even if it's a smile, even if it's a joke or whatever it may be, because, mental illness has, I guess we could say the acknowledgement of mental illness for the last 5 years has skyrocketed. I think people have always had issues with that, but we did not pay attention to it, and we did not actually, take it seriously, to be honest with you. But when somebody just randomly jumps off a bridge, or when someone, and I'm just going to talk about things that I have happened, just shoot and kill their family,
Mm-hmm.
or they even like harm their pet or whatever the case may be, like they may have been signs all along, and maybe a smile, maybe a talk, maybe a word of encouragement could actually change somebody's atmosphere. And I always try to do that, and I always feel like if I am a part of something, I'm not contributing to it in a positive way, I don't want to be a part of it. That means that I'm a hindrance to it. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? And so that being said, I know that you and I, we do have something in common, and
Mm-hmm.
we'd like to, how can I say this very nicely? So my mother's a great cook, right? And
We like to eat.
yeah, right, yeah. I'll let you say it, right? You the
Yeah,
guest, you say it.
I
So
love to eat.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
no secret.
Yeah, so Nancy Nolan, I'm sure she's watching. She'll say, yeah, yeah, y'all like to eat. So you just told me that you have become a virtual coach for
Yeah,
Weight Watchers.
I have, and I still love to eat. I just
Yeah,
don't
I do
eat
too.
now.
So you need to help. If you want to help somebody, help us.
Y'all help
Help
us. So
us
let's
with
this is
help
so
us
fun
today.
because there's again when you just say it's God, what am I supposed to be? If
Right.
somebody told me you're going to be a virtual Weight Watchers national coach,
Yeah, you
with
got
access
started, right?
to 200,000 members that will find
Hmm.
you and come to your session. So
Hmm.
yeah, 2018, I saw my husband through all of this, and this is
Right.
for the women out there. You
Hmm.
can easily lose yourself, you know,
Right.
because we're such nurturers and caregivers. So
Hmm.
I didn't think I was losing myself, but my health was going down.
Yeah.
I was just like eating my way through life, fast food, whatever I could get to,
Hmm.
get through. And of course,
Right.
like I say, presentations always been my thing. So
Right.
nobody's ever said, "Oh, you look horrible," but
Right.
no,
Right.
I felt horrible. So
Yeah.
2019, I was like, you know what? You're going to do something. So anyway, I joined Weight Watchers and lost 40 pounds.
Oh, good
Have been
job.
able to maintain
Hmm.
almost all of that through COVID, being
Hmm.
home. And
Yeah.
just cause, so other people, again, there's just by me going to the meetings, I never missed a meeting, virtually or in person. And my coach said, you need to do this. You need to be a coach. I'm like, "Girl, I ain't been a coach." So
Hmm.
anyway, COVID hit, and this Fortune 500 company has to shift,
Hmm.
so I got in, I'm one of, right now we have about 69 coaches that handles the globe.
Hmm.
And I'm one, very part-time, because, my primary job is higher ed at Claflin
Right.
University, CU,
Oh, right. Oh, right.
administrator and a
Hmm.
faculty member there. So I do sessions on the weekend and then maybe a couple in the evenings. So
Hmm.
I'm just excited. And I told them I was so transparent. The entire interview panel didn't look like me. And
Right. Right. True.
I said, I want to get back to my community. I want to
Hmm.
help everybody, but specifically those of us who think fried chicken and macaroni and cheese is just the way to go every day.
Yeah.
And what I love about this plan is like there's nothing off the table. It just taught me
Right.
how to eat better and how to feel good about myself. And
Hmm.
I'm not where I want to be weight wise, and it's a journey forever. I mean,
Right.
you make
True.
up your mind, it's a journey. Fat cells only shrink; they stay right there.
Right. And I'm with you on that. So funny because when you lose weight, right, and then someone sees you after, sometimes say a year or two, they're like, oh my God, I say all the time, that's, oh my God, you lost so much weight. And I'm like, you sure I didn't just get taller? Like,
Yeah,
no, 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 right? You know what I mean? And so you can't really appreciate it until somebody brings it to your attention. Like
right.
most people, not anybody's gonna say, oh my God, you look so terrible. but they will say, "Oh man, you lost so much weight. That's
Exactly.
so great." But I have a couple questions to ask you about food. What's your favorite food, Bridget?
My favorite food, right now, I kind of just eat chicken, fish, and maybe pork sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm a cakey sweet eater kind of person though. So my challenge is trying to figure out how to have those good treats
Uh-huh.
and and
And
allocate.
yeah.
So I
Mm-hmm.
learned how to balance it, and then during COVID, so I was losing weight every week for 5 months straight. I was
Right.
on this program. I didn't cheat. I didn't what they call cheat. I
Right.
did. I mean, I just learned how to eat. And then when COVID hit, I went into maintenance
Mm-hmm.
because maintenance is just maintaining, up and down 5, 6 pounds. Because I wanted to bake, I wanted to try foods, and I don't know if you were following me close
Of
enough on
course.
Facebook to see how much food I posted in the last 9 months. But
Mm-hmm.
I was able to maintain, and I figured out, I finally learned. So now I'm out of COVID and I'm coaching, and now I've got 30 pounds I want to lose. So this is going to be the challenge. But
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a favorite. Well, okay, let's say before WW, my favorite food was hamburger and French fries.
Okay.
I can eat that like 3 times a week.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Me too.
Oh my
That
God.
that listen,
Eat it
that's
dry,
my
eat
yeah,
it cover whole.
yeah.
So now I've learned to love veggies. I love a big salad with grilled chicken on it.
Mhm.
Now I'm learning to cook veggies like asparagus and
Yeah.
things I never cooked, and
Yeah. Yeah.
using them so they taste so well. So I'm
Yeah.
just learning a lot about food, and my staple as a coach is prepping. We
Okay.
eat what we see. So I
Right.
take 2 hours on Sunday and prep the entire kitchen and baggies, fruit,
Yeah.
veggies. I'm never hungry and don't see something healthy to eat. I keep that.
And I can definitely see you doing that because again, like you're one of the most organized people I know. And you don't appreciate again, my dad was organized too. Um,
Yeah.
and so I can see you definitely doing that. Let me ask you this question. Let's go the other way. What's your least favorite food?
I do not like okra.
Yeah, me either.
You
Yeah,
can't
me
make me eat it.
either.
I'm allergic to shellfish.
Okay. Did you
Like
already know that or
they
you
love
found?
the crab, the shrimp. I can't
Oh.
I can't eat any shellfish.
Well, see that's how we know you're not from Charleston.
Yeah. I
Cuz
mean, if you want me sick, sneak
yeah,
some shrimp up in there or
right.
crab. I've tried it now. I'm not saying it tastes bad.
Yeah.
It just doesn't like my body.
Right. Exactly. And that's very, very good. Now, when you say you lost that amount of weight during the COVID season or whatever, do you actually work out and stuff, or you just kind of?
I walk, and honestly, Darius, I hate exercise.
Mm,
I
you're
hate
not
it with
like,
passion, but it's necessary,
mm,
especially at my age. I
right.
lost the first 40 pounds not exercising at all. But
Hmm.
when I came home and I'm sitting still, in order
Hmm.
to move now or to even move a pound or two down, I have to move. So
Yeah,
we have elliptical, but I love walks and I call them
yeah,
peace walks.
right.
So
Yeah, I've seen you on Facebook.
yeah,
Yeah,
so you know what's funny? I'm gonna give you this encouragement. When you have a passion and you do it honestly, your gift, the scripture, your gift will
yeah,
make
make room for you, right? Hmm.
the two things that WW loved about me were my kitchen talks and my peace walks.
Oh, okay.
They loved it and they want me to do that and put it on their platform and my peace
Right.
walk. Like, Bridget, have you done a peace walk? So here I
Yeah.
am talking, and I'm like, only two people watching me. Darius, you can't worry about the numbers.
Right.
Your purpose and your impact, wherever you're supposed to be. So now I have an audience of thousands and thousands of people across the globe
Wow.
that can join my sessions. Isn't
Hmm.
that amazing?
That's actually very amazing. And you're right. If you do something from your heart, and again, I have a few mentors, but one of my medical mentors, Dr. Casimo Diemo, who I had on last year, that was talking about colon cancer. He taught me early in my medical career. He says, Darius, if you do anything just for the money, you won't do it well. You
Right.
won't do it with your whole heart. And so I took that, so whatever I'm doing, if even like, being a new homeowner, if I'm building something or like trying to fix something, whatever, I do it because I want it to be done right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even in my musicianship, I don't do performances or gigs for the money. I really do it because I love music and I want to affect people's lives in a positive way. you know and just again kind of segueing into another section about this thing, affecting people's life in a positive way. So you being an AKA, I'm sure you're happy over Vice President Kamala Harris.
Madam Vice President, yes,
Madam Vice
yes,
President, right,
we
right.
are. I had on my pearls and my chuck.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
And I actually just found out what the whole purpose behind the pearls and chucks were. I guess she was on the cover of Vogue magazine.
yeah,
Was that right? Okay, I don't want to get that wrong. And I guess the story is, and again, this is just me secondhand information, so if I'm wrong, you correct me. But apparently, she came there with that on, and that outfit was not supposed to be the final product.
that's
Is
what I
that right?
read. That's what
Okay,
I
all
read.
right. So they
And the first
because
time we saw her with that on was she was getting off a plane. She wore her
right,
comfy shoes and her suit,
right, right, right.
So look though what she did with it.
But it just goes to show the power of I don't want to say persuasion, but it's just the power of leadership. What she saw as just like comfort, it just started a whole trend and it started a whole rave. You know what I mean? Not doing anything intentionally for attention. And that's one of the pitfalls of social media. I do like social media. I'm not in love with it because not every personality can handle social media. I do feel like a lot of people do things for likes, they do things for clicks. And because, social media has become monetized now,
Mm-hmm.
if you go to a place and you do something dangerous and you get so many likes, advertisers, come into your inbox or your DMs and say, hey, man, we'll give you so much money if you do it again, or if you do whatever the case may be. So, again, just trying to, and I'm not a party pooper, I like to have fun and laugh and everything,
Right.
but I don't want anybody to get hurt or just be out of sync with who they are just for a dollar or just for people to like them. You understand? But I think it's great that we are moving forward in U.S. history with all that good stuff. But I'm gonna ask you a question, I'm gonna tell you, you cannot use two people when I ask you this question, right? You cannot use Oprah, you cannot use Michelle Obama. All right. If you could sit down, I asked this question to a previous guest, but I like to hear people's answers. If you could sit down and have dinner or spend 24 hours with the person, who would that? It could be male or female, and the person can be dead or alive. If you can spend 24 hours with or sit down and have dinner with a person, who would it be?
You know who I think about a lot. And this person's not famous, so don't be
That's okay.
I would sit down with my grandmother,
Okay.
Naomi Pinckney.
Okay. Tell us why.
Well, my grandmother, I was telling Justin about her. She was just a phenomenal, number one, she was a spiritual giant. But
Hmm.
she was also a realist. I mean, a real woman. I could go to her, where your parents are telling you don't do, don't do, don't do, because I say don't do. Grandma would tell me why they saying don't do it,
Hmm.
like, you know. But I remember my grandmother moving, she went up north like a lot of people did back then. Got married, had her kids. Then she came home. And that's when we really got to know her. She came back to South Carolina. My grandmother got her high school degree at Richland Northeast through the adult ed program. That's where I graduated from.
Okay.
I became her little mentee, her little
Hmm.
mentor, but I
Hmm.
was my grandmother. So
Hmm.
then grandma went to USC, Darius, to take all the free courses she could as a senior citizen. So
Hmm.
the vivid memory I have of grandma is I'm walking across the campus going to one of my classes, and I hear somebody saying, Bridget, Bridget. I'm looking around like, who is calling me? It was my grandmother. I said, what are you doing at USC? She was just determined to get all she could get and learn all she could learn. And believe it or not, between her and my dad and my mom, she planted those seeds in me. And I would just love to say, Grandma, look at what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? What do you have to say for me now? Because and when I say spiritual giant, you didn't leave her house without prayer.
Right. Right.
And you don't see, I haven't, and then I know we're different. Each generation gets different, and I can't say I'm going to be her or want to be her, because they had so many rules. But to have her connection with God and to have her tenacity about just that's who I would sit with, and that's why.
Right. Well, that's very, very good. And grandparents, they have a different way of parenting you as a grandchild than they would their actual children.
Yes.
You said because sometimes they have to give an explanation for it because your parents are tired of you. They told you already, we're not doing that. We're not going there. Don't ask me again. And they say, come on, baby, let me tell you. You know what I'm saying? And they give you
And
piece
my
of.
parents are doing the same things to Justin.
Yeah, I know. And I'm glad you brought little Justin up. So we have Justin. Justin is a senior now, right?
Oh my gosh, my baby leaving me. He's a senior in high school and he's getting college acceptances, and
Yeah.
I had to get him a lecture, Darius. And I don't know if you saw, I posted it, shared it with the world. I was like, grown is not a number. Grown
Wow.
is a behavior.
Right.
You
Right.
could be grown at 15, son, or
Right.
you might be grown at 30. But it's a behavior. It's a
Yeah.
behavior.
And
I,
I definitely feel that. Yup. Yup.
I'm
So he's doing
excited.
well. Is he going to try to stay? I know he's still accepting. I know you want him to stay closer to home, but what's your gut telling you about where he's going to go? Far off, or going to stay close to home? What do you think?
I say you go wherever you want to go as long as it's free.
Now that's a good answer. That is a good
I
answer.
haven't worked at high ed all these years not to take advantage of this benefit. And
Right.
he has some benefits that come with me working where I work. So,
Right. Right. Right.
but
Right.
he's a smart kid. He's a shy kid.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary that Jay and I, we will be empty nesters in
Yeah.
just 7 months.
Right. Right.
What does
Right.
that look like?
Yeah, right. Yeah, for all these years, you guys have had Justin to, kind of be that
I'm gonna have
kid.
to call your mom and ask her, what is
Yeah.
that?
Then what do you do exactly?
And
Now
she
I
will
remember
tell me the
Justin.
real. She's like, Bridget, you don't have to get dressed. You can just walk around the
Yeah.
house any kind of way you want to. You like,
Oh.
that's what your mama gonna tell
Yeah,
me.
I know she's gonna say it. I know she's gonna say it. I know she's gonna say it. Well, listen, Bridget, I tell you what, this has been a great conversation.
Thank
Um,
you, Darius.
I appreciate you doing this. I know that, you know, and I just want to seriously, all jokes aside, I want to thank you for sharing the testimony about with Jay, and sharing testimony about weight loss and education, because all those things are and very important. You know what I mean? And the three
Yeah.
of the pillars of the Different Echelon podcast is to encourage and to educate and to enrich. And that's what I want to do with this whole thing. So I'm thankful that I have people, in my life that I can call on to say, hey, man, can you be a part of this? Because I feel like this is a form of a ministry.
It
Um,
is.
not, this is, and I try not to make it like that because I do want to involve everyone. Not everyone is a follower, but at the end of the day, I know what my purpose is, and I'm not shy about it. I'm not ashamed of it and all
Right.
of that good stuff. So, I thank you for sharing your testimony. And we have to have you on again once Justin goes to school. You can tell
Oh
him.
no, I have to have Jay. Yeah, we have to get
Yeah,
Jay on too.
yeah, for sure, for sure. We'll do that. But I'll be calling you. But before we get off, could you please give the viewers any information that you want to share about how they can acquire your books, uh,
Okay.
or the Weight Watchers information, because that too is another thing to help people to get in shape and stuff like that, and even like your social media handles. So give it
Okay.
all here now. This is your time to shine.
Okay. Well,
All
yeah, you can find me, all of my inspirational books you can find at ICUGod.com. And I actually see a lot of pictures and even the video of Jay ringing the bell after getting his new heart, all on ICUGod.com. You can find me at Bridget Dewees Lift.com. And that's who I am. Everything's tied there, that contact information and Facebook handle. I use my name as much as I can. So just Google me. You can find me in and everywhere. My books are on Amazon. They're
Mm,
in Kindle version and print.
mm-hmm.
So That's
Well,
who I.
that is excellent, Bridget. Definitely want to thank you again for being a part of this. You're a part of our family now. You're a part of my natural family, spiritual family, whatever you want to call it, but you're part of this family as well. So I definitely wanted to thank you again. Do not hang up. I'm just gonna kick you out. And
Okay.
anyway, so just
I've
tell it.
enjoyed it,
Uh,
Darius, and I'm so
yeah.
proud of you. I'm so
Oh,
proud.
thank you. I really appreciate it. All right,
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna put you out. Here we go. All right, guys, that was Bridget Dewees, PhD, Dr. Dewees. She was able to share a lot of her trials, her tribulations, her victories, and all of those great things. Just want to thank you guys for being a part of this family as well as viewers and as listeners. And this is a special Monday night edition of the podcast. But on Wednesday, we're going to have Ron Homer, who is a financial specialist out of New Jersey. And he's going to be talking to us about being able to spend our money wisely. Everybody needs a lesson in this. Not everybody has it all figured out. Not everyone is Warren Buffett and those types of people. So please tune in. It's going to be this upcoming Wednesday on this channel, YouTube and Facebook, live stream, Different Echelon podcast. But as for this particular one, I'm going to replay this or post it to my Darius Nolan page, and also to any other platform that I have. Please email me or you can DM me. My email address is DariusNolan28. That's the number 2 and 8 at gmail.com. Please email me with any questions or any topic ideas. But you can also DM me on Facebook, Darius Nolan on Facebook, or I am a different echelon, or a different echelon, excuse me, on Facebook. Okay, so that's a different echelon on Facebook, Darius Nolan on Facebook, and my email address is DariusNolan28 at gmail.com. So thank you guys again for listening. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for all the support. And I'll just be happy to hear from you guys in the future. And I just can't thank you enough. Love you all. We're here to educate, encourage, and to enrich. God bless you all. Have a good evening. Be safe.